Welcome to Your Family's Health, the program that focuses on healthcare issues with unique and different modalities for taking charge of your health today. Experts talk weekly with our continuing roster of guests from around the country and right here in Nassau County to keep you up to date on the latest health issues and trends. Take care of your mind, body, and soul. Spend the next half hour with the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC, and get on the journey to better health.
Hello and welcome to Your Family's Health. My name is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard from the nursing department here at Nassau Community College, along with Nassau Community College student Gina Peter. And today we're going to learn about a disease that no one wants to think about. But unfortunately for some, it is a reality that we should all learn more about in case it ever affects our own family. I'm talking about children's leukemia.
Our guest today is Angela Russo, the Executive Director of Children's Leukemia Research Association, along with Tara Coleman, their Senior Director of Patient Aid, who will tell us more about this disease and what her organization is doing to try to fight back against it.
Angela, welcome to Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Jeanine.
First of all, I hope you're doing well in light of COVID-19 pandemic. Are you doing well in your family?
Fortunately, we are. Thank you very much. And we certainly hope the same for you and everybody on this call.
Thank you. Welcome, Tara, to you as well.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm just going to start at the beginning. What is leukemia and how is it diagnosed?
Leukemia is a blood cancer, and it is diagnosed through, I believe, blood testing.
Okay.
And there's various types of leukemia. Some are chronic, which is basically you're never going to heal from it. It's kind of like a death sentence. The other is acute, that you can live with it providing you get the necessary treatments as prescribed by the attending physician in treatment.
What are the symptoms of leukemia, especially in children? What would be some signs that would cause you to test for this?
Tara, you want to take that? Tara is always, she's the direct connection with our patient aid program, with social workers at the hospitals, with the advocates, and the patients themselves.
So there's so many different types. What we see a lot in the children is they sometimes present with a fever. Sometimes there's an infection that they can't figure out. Sometimes there's a small rash. Again, none of this is to worry anybody, but these are some of the things that parents have noticed and brought their children in for diagnosis, like what's going on? Why does my kid have this fever? Why do they have this rash? Why do they have swollen glands? Things like that.
So in addition to the rash, might that also have this fatigue or maybe be short of breath while they're, moving or have activities, any kind of thing like that?
Yeah, yes, there can be some fatigue.
So those symptoms that you talked about, Tara, how is leukemia treated? What are some of the treatment protocols?
Oh, yeah. So I just want to preface this with, I am not a medical professional. I just speak to our patients on a regular basis because we provide financial assistance to them. And again, because there's so many different types of leukemia, the treatments are varied. We see a lot of bone marrow and stem cell transplants. Again, depending on the type, there's a billion different chemotherapy remedies that a patient can be on. During COVID, we saw a lot, especially with the children, that they didn't want them in the hospital or the cancer centers to receive treatment. So you could literally, it's so crazy to think about this, but you can mail order chemotherapy now, and parents were having to learn how to administer the treatments to their children.
So I read that there are 3,000 children diagnosed with leukemia in the U.S. every year. So your organization must be very busy. So can you tell us the mission of Children's Leukemia Research Association and what it is all about?
Sure. First of all, it's a two-pronged mission. We not only offer patient copay financial assistance, but we also fund research grants or scientific research into trying to cure leukemia or find better treatments and medications for the disease. So those are given out by grants. We provide the grants. So the scientists, whether they're in the hospital or they are in the universities, obviously request a grant from us, and then it goes to our medical committee, and all the grants we receive are assessed by the medical committee, which then in turn advise us which grants they feel are the most important or the most valuable at this point in time. And then we forward the grant money. And then we ask for, obviously, reports, midterm reports, and term reports, and see if what those grants, what that grant money went toward, if there were any major results from the research and so forth. And whatever that is will be posted. That's actually how the organization started. It started as was several businessmen. I believe one of them had a child with leukemia, and they were all quite financially suitable to donate funds and create this organization. So it started as the National Leukemia Research Association. Down the road, they decided to call it the Children's Leukemia Research Association because they saw that there were so many children, and they wanted to highlight the fact that we provide these services for the children and the research, but we also we also help adults. So sometimes the name doesn't describe that. We try and make sure that we advertise that we also help adults suffering from this disease.
So are you still a national organization? And if so, where are you located?
Yes, we're located in Garden City, New York, and we are a national organization. We treat people all over the country, and we accept grants from all over the country.
Can you tell us about some of the research that's being done now?
I have a whole synopsis of the latest research and technology being used. I forward that to you. It's a little lengthy and a little scientific, but they're constantly striving, and this is very broad brushed, to find cures for leukemia. Yeah. But through the technology over the years, the treatment and the medications that have evolved have prolonged the life and the quality of life for people suffering from this disease.
We grant a significant amount of funds to a hospital, I can say it, Dana-Farber. I was going to be all compliant there, but we don't have to be compliant with the research grants. And she recently was interviewed in saying that, that the treatments are helping patients to live. And she's seeing more in remission other than, when she started 10, 15 years ago. So although, we like to hear remission, we like to hear cure. It's not always the case, but they are finding ways to live successfully with the diagnosis.
So tell me, how does your organization help patients, families, and, how do you actually intervene as an organization on behalf of children with leukemia?
Yeah.
Tara, you want to take that?
Yeah, it's definitely. So we provide patient assistance, reimbursement in the form of that we actually send checks, but we serve patients all across the United States, children and adults, and we grant $3,000 per patient per year once they're accepted. So there's different criteria to be accepted into the program, and I'll get back to that in a second. And once they're accepted, we reimburse them for costs that are specifically related to their care in the forms of prescription copays, doctor visit copays, lab visits, chemo, and any types of radiation testing. So as long as it's specifically related to fighting the blood cancer and looking at how the blood cancer is affecting various systems, we reimburse them for that. So one of the ways that we differ from other leukemia organizations is we don't have an income requirement, and we don't look at patients' financials because as the tri-state area folks know, you can have a significant income, but when you wake up one day and your child is sick and your deductible is $6,000 for their first visit, not many people have that lying around.
You're listening to Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard, along with Nassau Community College student Gina Peter. And today, we're learning all about children's leukemia from our guest, Angela Russo, the Executive Director of the Children's Leukemia Research Association, along with Tara Coleman, the Senior Director of Patient Aid. So you both were talking about what qualifies patients and their families to receive funding as it relates to leukemia. How many candidates do you get in a given time or given year that you award funds to?
So we have an amount budgeted every year. I want to say it's 210 this year. And I look at statistics from the prior year because we grant everyone 3,000, but not everyone needs the 3,000. So yeah, we look at anywhere between 90 and 100 patients a year are accepted into the program. And so that the criteria to be accepted is child or an adult with a blood cancer diagnosis. So it could be any form of blood cancer, leukemia, lymphoma, any of the various forms of leukemia, any of the forms of lymphoma, residing in the United States. They must have medical insurance, and they can't be a Medicaid recipient. So it's funny. It's a great question because it's very timely. We open the application on January 1st of every year. So right.
Is there an age cutoff? Is there age cutoff with the children?
Nope, no age cutoff. We see, unfortunately, we see all ages, and we really get applications from all over the country. And right now it's the beginning of February. We have about 70 new applications for this year, and I probably get one a day.
I have a question for you, Tara. You said you deal with the families a little bit more, correct?
Yeah.
So can children with leukemia, when they're undergoing treatment, can they still go to school, do like gym classes? Can they do normal activities?
Unfortunately, in my experience with the patients in our program, they cannot. Their immune systems are compromised, and we've all had a huge lesson in that this last several months. So a lot of them are homeschooled and protected while they're undergoing the treatment. And then some of them are even too sick to attend school or be out and about.
So what is your greatest challenge with the Children's Leukemia Research Association? What is the greatest challenge?
Well, Angela, take that one.
Our greatest challenge is certainly raising funds. Mm-hmm. And we are a very small organization. Although we've been around since 1965, we are very small. We compete against major significant organizations such as Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, American Cancer Society. They're so well known. They have a chapter just about on every block in every town in the country. So they truly eat up most of the huge corporate donations and political donations, community donations. So our biggest challenge is not only getting the word out there, which we have been trying to do, but we did go through a reorganization. Prior to our coming on board, there was never a need or a concern about fundraising because, as I said earlier, The people who organized this, they had resources and networking that the fundraising wasn't even an issue. About 2015, the executive director that had this network and was one of the people that founded the organization moved away and then subsequently got ill, turned over the fundraising to a telemarketing association, which was extremely detrimental to our organization because these telemarketing companies take the majority of the money, leaving us with maybe 15% of the money going to our mission, the telemarketing company taking the rest. So we've had to overcome. Tara and I did a complete reorganization of this company, of this organization in mid-2018. And we've been working very, very diligently to get as much exposure as we could, get the word out there, do as much marketing as we can, now certainly virtual, to let people know what we do and where we are. So that's been the greatest challenge.
Do you host any fundraising events?
Well, we were going to, and we had some things that were scheduled, and then COVID hit, and that was the end of the event planning. Mm-hmm. So now what we're trying to do is follow the new norm of virtual fundraising, which we're just starting to touch upon and research. Obviously we're on Facebook and we have a website, but a virtual event we're still looking into and seeing how we can conduct that. Everything has changed for not-for-profits in 2021, obviously. And with COVID, that hasn't helped other not-for-profits as well.
If one of our listeners wanted to join one of these virtual events, where could they find this information?
That information would be found in two areas. You can find us on Facebook at Children's Leukemia Research Association. We're at 585 Stewart Avenue, Garden City. And you can also find us on our website, which is www.childrensleukemia.org.
So if someone wanted to donate to the Children's Leukemia Research Association, how can they do that?
They can do it in many ways. If they want, they can mail a check, and they can do it through Facebook. We have a donate button through Facebook. And a lot of people do birthday fundraisers through Facebook. And then they can donate directly on our website. There's a donate button.
And tell me the name of your website.
Children's Leukemia, .org.
So how can someone get involved if I wanted to join the team to help with pushing this?
Yes,
this organization forward?
We welcome anybody who would like to get involved as if they have any ideas for fundraising or getting the word out to their networks and communities. A great way is to like and share us on Facebook, getting the word out to all of the people that are on that are your Facebook friends. Getting involved with any kind of fundraising that you could do. Anybody that wants to do a birthday fundraising to help support the organization. Anybody who would like to volunteer, they can certainly email us at info@childrensleukemia.org and certainly call us at 516-222-1944.
You're listening to Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard, along with Nassau Community College student Gina Peter. And today we're learning all about children leukemia from our guest, Angela Russo, the Executive Director of the Children's Leukemia Research Association, along with Tara Coleman, the Senior Director of Patient Aid. Just add another question. Does the organization provide any kind of psychological or social support for patients and their families who may be experiencing leukemia?
We actually don't, but we can offer ideas. A lot of the, and we also have materials that Tara, when Tara feels that people need more information, Tara will send out a very informative cancer leukemia magazine. We have several of them, giving people additional resources and contacts. Usually, though, the doctors, the social workers, whomever, would probably certainly recommend it. And I have no doubt that these families are in some kind of therapeutic process, whether it's through the social worker or a psychologist or whatever healthcare provider for mental health, to get through this very, very trying time. It's a major shock when all of a sudden you see a child who's perfectly normal, and the next day they go in for maybe just a simple checkup, only to find out they have leukemia, and then that is a major, major shock and trauma for the child, the family, and also for our older patients. We have patients that are fine until they're 65, and then all of a sudden they develop leukemia. So it's on either end of the spectrum when it comes to ages. But also, too, just to let you know, because we're so small and we're a boutique type organization, Tara is in direct contact with patients, the advocates, the social workers, the parents, and they get a lot of comfort from this very personalized service. Tara could probably tell you the names of just about all the patients we have, because they have quite a bit of conversation and dialogue. And they're extremely, and they've sent us letters and accolades and so forth about the incredible, personable and caring support they get from our organization. Specifically, Tara. When Tara's not around, I will speak to them, but she knows about their families and what's going on, and they really appreciate that. Large organizations can't do that. They just cannot do that on such a personable and really sincere commitment to wanting to help these people.
I agree with that. I think what you guys are doing are amazing. Cancer is very tough, especially when it comes to your kids. So you said Tara deals with a lot of the patients, and you guys have mentioned before that you see a lot of remission. So Tara, can you give us a like a success story or a story that's like personal to you that you can leave us off with?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a tough one. Let me think about that for a second. Yeah. So we have, this is a good one. Young boy around 11, 12, 13. They live out west. They literally moved the entire family, him and his two siblings, several states away to get the best possible treatment for this young boy. And he had bone marrow treatment and was in the hospital for several weeks, months, while the family was in temporary housing. And they are back home because the transplant is working. So he's had a long, hard road and a dedicated family and dedicated doctors that just, haven't given up. And it's great because I get to see, they share their stories and they share their Facebook feeds with us. So you get to see the smiles on their faces, and his siblings when he was finally out of treatment and out of the hospital. It's completely heartwarming and makes it all worth it.
Absolutely. And just to wrap that up, getting back to your earlier point about the children and where technology has gone, Tara, I'm taking this from your feedback. We see more children in remission than children that actually pass from the disease. Far greater numbers of success than there were just a few years ago.
Definitely.
So, what is the one thing you want to leave our audience with when it comes to Children Leukemia Research Association?
Please look us up. Please look at our website. Please like and share us on Facebook because everything is virtual now. And if your audience just went on Facebook, looked us up, liked and share, we would reach thousands and thousands of people that could get the story out.
Well, thank you for being here, Angela Russo, the Executive Director of the Children's Leukemia Research Association, and Tara Coleman, the Senior Director of Patient Aid. We hope you stay safe and continue to do the great work, and thank you for being our guest today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity. We really appreciate it, and stay safe and well.
This is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard from the Nursing Department here at Nassau Community College, along with student Gina Peter, and we want to thank you for listening to this week's edition of Your Family's Health.
We'd like to get your feedback on your family's health. Send your comments by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu. Podcasts of today's show are available on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This program was produced at the studios of Nassau Community College in cooperation with the Nursing Department. Join us next week for another edition of Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.